Thank you. So, can somebody begin to read?
I can read.
Please. Thank you.
After hearing Rāmānanda Rāya expound upon the proper execution of a regulated life, Lord Caitanya said that such a life is simply external. Indirectly, he asked Rāmānanda to describe something superior to such an external exhibition. Formal execution of rituals and religion is useless unless aimed at attaining the perfection of devotional service. Lord Vishnu is not satisfied simply by a ritualistic adherence to Vedic instructions. He is actually pleased when one attains the stage of devotional service.
So yesterday, Lord Chaitanya asked Rāmānanda Raya, what is the goal of human life? And Rāmānanda Raya said, do your duty for the satisfaction of Krishna, whatever occupation we have, do that. But Lord Chaitanya is saying, this is still external. Churn more, churn further. He wants to get the essence. So he's like, churn further, because Lord Vishnu, what pleases him is that we engage, all of us, in devotional service. Why? It's not that he's not like the politician, like we put a propaganda for ourselves. Oh, everyone is going to vote for me. I'm going to be so famous. I'm going to get so much worship, so much adoration. Krishna is not like that. It's not that he's saying, yeah, you should glorify me so I can feel so proud. No, but this is our loving relationship with Krishna. We can be situated in our loving relationship. That is what Krishna wants us to come to that platform, to be situated in our original relationship with him.
According to the verse cited by Rāmānanda Rāya, one can rise to the point of devotion by ritualistic performance. In Bhagavad Gita 18.45 to 46, Sri Krishna, who appeared in order to deliver all classes of people, states,
Sve sve karmani abhirataha samsiddhim labate nara swakarma nirata siddhim yatha vindati takshanu yata pravritir bhutana yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manava.
a human being can attain the highest perfectional stage of life by worshipping the Supreme Lord, from whom everything has emanated, through his occupational duties. This perfectional process was followed by great devotees like Bodhayana, Tanka, Dramita, Guhadeva, Kapparadi, and Baruchi. All these great personalities followed this particular path of perfection. The Vedic injunctions also aim in this direction. Rāmānanda Rāya wanted to present these facts before the Lord, but apparently mere discharge of ritualistic duties is not perfection. Therefore, Lord Caitanya said it was external, indicating that if a man has material conception of life, he cannot attain the highest perfection, even if he follows all ritualistic regulations.
So, just doing the duty just for the heck of it. It's just doing the Varna Sharma. So, Lord Chaitanya is saying, just doing Varna Sharma, that can't be the goal of life, because we have to come to devotional service to Lord Vishnu. But Bhagavatam says, do the Varna Sharma, do the duties, come to devotional service. That's the point. Not that Bhagavatam is not telling us don't do our duties. Now, if we don't want to do our duties, we may misuse that verse and say, oh, Bhagavatam is saying don't do. No, but what Bhagavatam is saying, do the duties, but by doing it should bring you to Krishna. Engage in devotional service. Do the duty for the satisfaction of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. So.
Chapter 28, Relationship with the Supreme. Lord Caitanya rejected the statement cited by Rāmānanda Rāya from the Vishnu Purana because the Lord wished to reject a class of philosophers known as Mimamsakas. The followers of Karma Mimamsa philosophy teach that God is subject to one's work. Their conclusion is that if one works nicely, God is bound to results. Thus, from the statement of Vishnu Purana cited by Rāmānanda Rāya, One might conclude that Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, has no independence, but it is bound to award a certain kind of result to the workers. Such a dependent God becomes subject to the worshipper, who accepts the Supreme Lord as both impersonal and personal, as he wishes. Actually, the Karma Mimamsa philosophy stresses the impersonal feature of the Supreme Absolute. Because Lord Chaitanya did not like such impersonalism, he rejected it.
Actually, this Karma Mimamsa philosophy, even Krishna, he tells to Nanda Maharaj that time to stop Nanda Maharaj from doing the Indra Puja. He said, why are you praying to Indra? You do good work, you will get good rains. God will give the result. But this is not a Vaishnava philosophy. It is actually impersonal philosophy, atheistic philosophy, because God is a person. He is the lawmaker. The law of karma is not the ultimate. God is the ultimate because He's the lawmaker after all. Because according to the karma mimamsa philosophy, karma becomes the greater than God. But that's not right. Who's the lawmaker? That's Krishna.
Tell me if you know something beyond this conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Lord Chaitanya said. Rāmānanda Rāya understood the purpose of Lord Chaitanya, and after stating that it is better to give Krishna the results of fruitive activities, he quoted a verse from Bhagavad Gita 9.27.
Yat karoshi yat ashnasi yat chuhoshi tadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva mad arpanam.
O son of Kunti, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, whatever you give away, and whatever austerities you undergo to achieve some goal, everything should be dedicated to my service. There is a similar passage in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.36, which states that one should submit everything, all the results of fruitive activities one performs with body, speech, mind, senses, intelligence, soul, and modes of nature to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan.
So Krishna says, at least come to this position. He's saying to Arjuna, is this karma yoga or bhakti yoga?
Karma
Whatever
yoga.
yeah. Why is it karma yoga?
He's telling you do everything, you do your karma, but then dedicate everything to the Lord.
Yeah.
To
Yes.
basically.
Yeah. Because we are still doing what we want to do. We are still not bhakti doing what Krishna wants us to do. So at least we should come to this point that, okay, we are doing what we want to do, but offer the result to Krishna. So Krishna is saying, at least come to this position. Bhagavad Gita, he keeps saying, you do your duty, don't get attached to the result. So offer the results to Krishna. Okay. So now let's read on.
Lord Chaitanya, however, also rejected the second statement, saying, if you know of something higher, state it.
So it's not that this is a wrong or this. We should at least try to come because it's a struggle for us to even to come to this platform. But there is something higher. Devotional service gets sweeter and sweeter, It gets more and more, condensed. So,
Offering everything to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as enjoyed by Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is better than impersonally making the Supreme Lord subject to our will. But it is still short of surrendering to the. A worker's identification with material existence cannot be changed without proper guidance. Such fruitive activities will continue one's material existence. A worker is instructed here to offer the results of his work to the Supreme Lord. But there is no information given to enable one to get out of this material entanglement. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya rejected his proposal.
So offering the work of Krishna, offering our result to Krishna, but Lord Chaitanya is saying you go deeper now. What is higher than this? Go deeper.
After having his suggestions rejected twice, Rāmānanda proposed one should forecase his occupational activities altogether and by such detachment rise to the transcendental plane. In other words, he recommended complete renunciation of worldly life. To support this proposal, he cited evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.11.32, wherein the Lord says, "In the scriptures, I have described the ritualistic principles and the way one can become situated in devotional service by giving them up. That is the highest perfection of religion." Rāmānanda also quoted Lord Krishna's similar statement in Bhagavad Gita 18.66.
Sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha.
Give up all kinds of religious and surrender unto me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I shall protect you from all sinful reactions, and you will have nothing to be aggrieved of over.
So this is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying, come to this position, right? This is the message Krishna is saying, surrender unto me, and I will protect you. But now, what is Lord Chaitanya saying?
Lord Chaitanya also rejected his third proposal from Rāmānanda Rāya, for he wanted to demonstrate that renunciation is in itself is not sufficient. There must be a positive engagement. Without positive engagement, the highest perfectional stage cannot be attained. Generally, there are two kinds of philosophers in the renounced order of life. The goal of one is nirvana, and the goal of the other is the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Such philosophers cannot imagine that they can reach beyond nirvana and the Brahman effulgence to the Vaikuntha planet of the spiritual sky. Because in simple renunciation, there is no conception of spiritual planets and spiritual activities. Lord Chaitanya rejected this third proposal.
Well, just by hearing that give up everything, so one may say, okay, give up means negation, but what is the positive engagement? So one's idea may just reach up to, oh, I have to give up everything, I have to renounce, and then I have to do nothing. So then by following this, one will just reach the Brahman, but that is not the goal either. Because there is no knowledge of positive, okay, give up variety of religion, everything, but what do I have to do then? But that information is not here. So by just giving up, by just renouncing, we'll just reach to the Brahman, but there's something higher.
Rāmānanda then cited more evidence from Bhagavad Gita 18.54.
Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na shochate na kankshate sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate para.
When, by cultivation of knowledge, a person realizes himself to be non-different from the Supreme Absolute Truth, he becomes joyful and is free from all kinds of lamentation and material desires. At that time, he perfects his Brahman, realizing everyone on the same spiritual level. Such Brahman realization can elevate one to the transcendental stage of devotional service. Rāmānanda Rāya first suggested devotional service with the renunciation of the fruits of one's work, but here he suggests that devotional service with full knowledge and spiritual realization is superior.
So first he said, do karma yoga, devotional service with renunciation of fruits of one's work. Whatever you do for me. But Lord Chaitanya is saying, go higher, go higher. So now he's saying that understanding one's spiritual position, understanding a part and parcel of Krishna, and in that understanding, engaging in devotional service. Understanding, I am servant of Krishna. Because when we are saying, oh, Krishna is saying, do whatever you want to do and you surrender to me, still we may not understand that we are servant of Krishna, no? Because we still are thinking, I'm independent, I want to do this, I can do that. But here he's suggesting now that one understands his constitutional position. He's gotten this transcendental knowledge. I am a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. I'm an eternal servant of Krishna. And let me engage in devotional service. So now Rāmānanda has come to this.
Lord Chaitanya, however, also rejected this proposal because simply by renunciating material results in Brahman realization, one does not realize the spiritual world and spiritual activities. Although there is no material contamination when one attains the stage of Brahman realization, in that stage one is still not perfectly pure because there is no positive engagement in spiritual activities. Because it is still on the mental plane, it is external. The pure living entity is not liberated unless he is completely engaged in spiritual activity. As long as one is absorbed in impersonal thoughts or in thoughts of the void, one's entrance into an eternal blissful life of knowledge is not complete. When spiritual knowledge is not complete, one will be hindered in his attempt to cleanse the mind of all material variegatedness. Thus, impersonalists are frustrated in their attempts to make the mind void by artificial meditation. It is very difficult to void the mind of all material conceptions. In Bhagavad Gita 12.5, it is stated that those who indulge in such impersonal meditation find it difficult to make spiritual advancement. In addition, whatever state they do attain is not complete liberation. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya rejected it.
So here, because Rāmānanda Rāya, he is saying that you work with the Brahman. Still, he is not suggested of Krishna here. So one is understanding so one is not yet understanding one's eternal position as servant. Huh? So I'm sorry about that. That Rāmānanda Rāya, here he's saying that, okay, you get the knowledge that I'm spirit soul. And in that way you act. Suggests that devotional service with full knowledge and spiritual realization is superior. But here, because Lord Chaitanya is saying, but you're still coming only to the point of Brahman. And this is also still a mental platform. You're actually not yet liberated. You're just thinking, you're thinking like this. But your activity is still not yet spiritual. So it's just that with your mind, you're thinking that I'm Brahman. But our mind also has so many material thoughts along with this thought. So because the material desire is still there, Lord Chaitanya is telling him, go higher, go churn it further.
After his fourth proposal was rejected, Rāmānanda Rāya said devotional service rendered without any attempt at mental speculation or cultivation of knowledge is the highest stage of perfection. To support this view, he gave evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.3, wherein Lord Brahma tells the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Yane prayasam udapasya namanta eva jivanti sanma karita bhavadhyavatam sthane sthita shruti gatam tanuvan manobhe ye prayashoji tajito piyasi testrilokyam.
my dear Lord, one should give up monastic speculation and the cultivation of knowledge altogether. He should begin his spiritual life in devotional service by receiving information of your activities from a realized devotee of the Lord. If one cultivates his spiritual life by handling to these principles and keeping himself on an honest path in life, then although your lordship is never conquered, you become conquered by the devotees following such a process.
So here Ramananda Raya is saying, he's citing this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam to follow the pure devotee. So understanding that God is a person, because here he's saying, give up completely that I'm going to become Brahman. Give up completely that I'm going to get this knowledge, the path of knowledge that, but engaging in devotional service by following a pure devotee, by hearing from a pure devotee. So this is real beginning of spiritual life, when we hear from a pure devotee. Because the earlier was more on the path of knowledge without understanding that God is a person. So the clarity is not there. And then the goal of that is just coming up to the Brahman. But then we understand that Brahman is not a permanent position that we can be in. So here now Ramananda Raya is saying, Hear from the pure devotee. Engage in devotional service by following the pure devotee.
When Ramananda Raya presented this proposal, Lord Chaitanya at once said, "Yes, this is right." In other words, Lord Chaitanya agreed that this process conforms to his mission. In this age, there is no possibility of acquiring spiritual knowledge by discharging one's duty in the Varna Sharma Dharma system. By devotional service mixed with fruitive activities, by renunciation or by devotional service mixed with the culture of knowledge. Because most people are fallen and because there is no time to elevate them by a gradual process. The best course, according to Lord Chaitanya, is to let them remain in whatever condition they are in, but to engage them in hearing of the activities of the Supreme Lord, as those activities are explained in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The transcendental messages of the scriptures should be heard from the lips of the realized souls. In this way, a person may continue to live in whatever condition he is in and still make spiritual progress. Thus, one can surely advance and fully realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So Lord Chaitanya is saying, and this is the beginning, like hearing from a pure devotee. He's saying, because if you're not going to hear from a pure devotee, you're just going to do your Varna Sharma, you're not going to get gone to the point of bhakti. If you're going to do karma yoga, but not understanding who you have to give the results to. Because some people do karma yoga, but they don't know who they have to give the result to. So in that way, they get purified, but because they're not giving result yet to Krishna, they cannot engage in devotional service, cannot go back home, back to Godhead. Or by coming just to the point of understanding that I am Brahman, but no knowledge of devotional service, then again, that's a temporary situation. But how can we get this permanent situation? Lord Chaitanya says, whoever we are, wherever we are, whatever we are doing, just begin hearing from the pure devotee. Hearing from Bhagavad Gita, hear from Bhagavatam. The message of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam should be heard from pure devotee. Otherwise, Lord Chaitanya would say, it's, milk is very nutritious, is very good, is very beneficial for us. But if it's touched by the lips of a snake, it becomes poisonous. We need to reject it. We cannot drink that milk. Similarly, the transcendental messages of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam should be heard from the lips of a pure devotee, not the professional reciters, because they themselves don't have the proper knowledge. So hearing from them is very counterproductive, let's say that.
Although Lord Chaitanya accepted these principles, he still requested Ramananda Raya to further explain advanced devotional service. Thus, Lord Chaitanya gave Ramananda Raya a chance to discuss gradual advancement from the principle of Varna Sharma Dharma, the four castes and the four orders of spiritual life, through the offering of the results of fruitive activities and through the speculative discussion of spiritual knowledge. Lord Chaitanya rejected all these because in the field of executing pure devotional service, there is very little use for such principles. Without self-realization, such artificial methods of devotional service cannot be accepted as pure devotional service. Self-realized pure devotional service is completely different from all other kinds of transcendental activities. The highest stage of transcendental activity is always free from all material desires, fruitive efforts, and speculative attempts at knowledge. In the highest stage of one concentrates on the simple, favorable execution of pure devotional service.
So Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya wants us to know about pure devotional service. And so that's why he's saying, give up all the lower principles, give up the lower principles. Hearing from the pure devotee is bhakti. When we say devotional service begins by hearing from the pure devotee. So this is what Lord Chaitanya is saying. But of course, there's higher we'll hear tomorrow. Now the time is up. So it gets more and more sweeter, more and more condensed. So hearing from the pure devotee, it is pure devotional service. When a pure devotee is hearing, it's not like material hearing at all. the bliss, the ecstasy that they are feeling, that is completely transcendental. Any comments or questions?
No, all of this.
So, that's why Bhagavad Gita needs to be heard from the pure devotee, because otherwise we may just get confused. What is Krishna trying to tell me? Is he trying to say Gyan, or is he trying to say Dhyan, or is he trying to say karma? But the pure devotee can explain to us that Krishna is saying, become my devotee. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. Become my devotee. Thank you so much for listening in and joining in. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare